Okay. Hey. Good morning, everyone. Sheriff. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Supervisor Ahsha Safai. Thank you for joining us today. I wanted to get everyone together because we've been working hard over the last year, but more diligently over the last 6 months to deal with the rise in retail theft, commercial theft, and the crime that's plaguing San Francisco. I'm very proud to announce today that both the Chief of Police, Bill Scott, and Sheriff Paul Miyamoto, and my team and our working group have come together with an agreement today that will allow our sheriffs to be hired by retailers, commercial operators in the city and county of San Francisco to provide more presence, law enforcement presence, to deal with this tremendous surge in crime that we're seeing here today. This is not a tremendous victory for San Francisco. It's something that's been decades in the making. We believe that it will provide one additional spoke in the wheel of justice to deal with what is plaguing our city right now. I want to thank a number of people that have made this possible. I want to thank Paul Miyamoto, our sheriff, and his team for working diligently. I want to thank Chief Bill Scott and his team. I want to thank Rocky Lucia from the Association, Police Officers Association, Ken Lamba from the Deputy Sheriff's Association, our city attorneys, and all of the individuals from our working group, the Hotel Council, San Francisco Travel, many of the merchants associations and community benefits districts from around San Francisco. This is something that I think is on the minds of every single San Franciscan. When we had our hearing back in the fall, when we heard that San Francisco was one of the epicenters for organized retail crime, we knew we had to act, and we knew we had to act swiftly. So I want to thank all the parties that came here today to make this possible. We will be voting on the amendments today, and in this process, we will start diligently and circumspect. We will have this process run through the police department for the first 60 days. The sheriff and his designee and the police chief and his designee will work over the next 60 days to come together with a memorandum of understanding that will set all of the parameters of this program in terms of arrests, in terms of bookings, in terms of follow-up, all of the different policies that will make this possible and make this a good, effective program. Now, I want to reiterate, because a number of you in the media have asked this question, this will not cost a penny to the citizens of San Francisco. This will be paid for and by private entities that choose to hire these individuals for special events on an occasional basis, what state law allows. We believe it's balanced and fair, and we believe this is the right approach. After those first 60 days, the sheriff and the police chief will come to the Board of Supervisors to present the administrative implementation of this once the memorandum of understanding is done. So again, I want to thank Chief Scott and his team. I want to thank Sheriff Miyamoto and his team, and I believe all the different people that were involved in this, including organized labor, the United Food and Commercial Workers, the NAACP, Reverend Amos Brown, being involved in this from the beginning. We believe that this is a historic day for San Francisco. And now I would like to call up first our Sheriff Paul Miyamoto, and then that will be followed by our Police Chief Bill Scott. Oh, one last thank you to our Chamber of Commerce as well, and Rodney Funk. Sheriff?
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Want to make sure that we emphasize and highlight that this is a great opportunity for us to help with keeping our community safe. And as we move forward with the legislation and have it enacted, I just want to mention also, as the supervisor has, that this has been a collaboration with both his office and the police department. Obviously, here at the sheriff's office, we have many opportunities to provide public safety and services. This is one more opportunity for us to do so with our staff, who are all trained as peace officers, to be a part of the solutions to the problems that face us all as a community. And I do also want to mention that since we last spoke about this a few months ago, and as we've gotten this process to move forward, we've still had problems with these types of crimes. We've still had problems with retail theft, both on a local, small business, and large-scale retail business level. So our ability to have an opportunity to provide services outside of any city-funded opportunities is something that we are open to, and our staff is ready to provide to the community. One other thing, too, to point out, as mentioned earlier, is that this overtime isn't going to affect our current staffing levels. This is voluntary overtime provided by our staff as opportunities to sign up for and get out into the community to protect the retail establishments. This also doesn't affect our pensions. It's set up exactly as 10B is set up. So I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the fact that we are now going to be a little more hopeful that we can assist in increasing the feeling of safety and the quality of care that we provide as public safety entity. So with that being said, I want to offer the podium up now to Chief Bill Scott.
Thank you, Sheriff. Well, good morning, everybody. First, I want to say thanks to our Supervisor, Ahsha Safai, for his leadership. You know, from day one, this has been all about what's in the best interest of our city and the safety of our city. And I firmly believe, as the Sheriff has just stated, that this measure, this legislation is in our best interest. I've talked to many people from the retail community, from the Retailers Associations, some of the employees who work in our city, customers who shop in our city. I'm a customer, I shop in the city, I live in the city. And we all want what's best for our city in terms of public safety, particularly as it relates to retailers. The fact of the matter is the San Francisco Police Department was unable to meet the demand for what was asked of us, and now we have our partners from the San Francisco Sheriff's Department that will help alleviate those shortages. And we are committed, Sheriff Miyamoto and I, of working together in our respective departments to make sure we put together solid plans moving forward to make sure that we work together, that we address these issues as best we can, and that we are responsive to the needs in our city. Retail theft is a huge problem in our city. We're doing everything possible to make it better, and this is yet another step and another tool for us to do just that. So thank you, Supervisor, thank you, Sheriff, and the members of the Sheriff's Department, and also the members of the Police Department that helped work on this legislation to bring about sensible progress to move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Sheriff. And I just want to overemphasize that this is something that will be done and move forward in a very deliberate manner, that our chief and our sheriff and his team, both of their respective teams, will get together to craft this MOU. I also want to state that we're not in San Francisco committed in any way to going back to the past where we over-incarcerate. We're not going to incarcerate our way out of this problem. This is meant to be a deterrent. This is meant to be more eyes and ears on the street. And if and when something becomes violent, like it did on November 19th in Union Square, our peace officers and our law enforcement officers will be present and ready. But this is mainly designed to be a deterrent. As you've seen, when we do arrest, when we do have the opportunity, it will deter, and we will need to follow up. And you saw me at the press conference 2 weeks ago when 9 of the individuals were charged with felonies. I committed at that time, and I commit again today, we will follow every single case that is violent, that is a felony, and that is causing harm and fear in our city. The last person I'd like to bring up, and I also don't want to forget to thank my initial co-sponsors, Supervisor Gordon Marr, Supervisor Aaron Peskin, Supervisor Raphael Mandelman, for their strong and firm support from the beginning. I'd like to bring up, to close this out, Reverend Amos Brown from the NAACP.
Good afternoon. I am very pleased as president of the San Francisco branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People to stand here with my friend, my supervisor, who serves as a very able, rational, compassionate, and responsible supervisor to make sure that our communities are safe.
We are not safe.
But we must understand
We are not safe.
that a lot. Will you be quiet, please?
You are the
Be quiet, and I give you opportunity. But you let me speak now.
We are not safe.
we have a situation where along with rights goes responsibilities. We represent a civil rights organization that everybody will have the right to security, to safety and opportunity. But along with that right goes the responsibility of keeping our community safe. Seniors in our community are afraid to go to the drugstore because of this spike in the recent wave of crimes that we witnessed. So thank God for our supervisor, for our sheriff, and also for our chief of police, who are responsible leaders, who are not about anybody being brutalized or taken advantage of or wronged. Every person's humanity will be respected and regarded. And I thank God for the day that more people of rational thought, responsibility, and looking for results will stand up and say that San Francisco should not be branded as a city where people cause individuals to be in pain, in agony, and frustration. Thank you so very much, Mr. Supervisor. We love you. Stay there, hold your hope, and don't let nobody shout you down.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be available for questions, both the chief and the sheriff, if you're interested in any questions.
You fail the city and you allow the criminals and you treat criminals like you protect criminals. You don't even care about us. You don't even care about the police. You just get your paycheck and go home. You don't even care. You fail your part. You fail your own. You fail your own. You're not an American. You're working for criminals. You are working for criminals. A bunch of criminals. You don't care about San Francisco. You allow